thing they could tell him is that you're Professor Wizard. It might make him more suspicious, but it wouldn't prove a thing.
That's right. The only way he could prove it is if he found the medicine wagon with the name painted over. You know, Emily, I've thought about setting fire to that wagon. But I thought it'd make people wonder, a wagon burning by itself, and ask questions. Emily, if the shed itself caught fire.
It's attached to the house.
Emily, who would possibly think that the Newtons could be so ungrateful that they'd destroy the house that was built by the hands and hearts of their friends?
Oh, it's a terrible thing even to think about.
Emily, a house is easy to rebuild. What would there be left of our lives to rebuild if they arrested me and took me back?
Oh, Mr. Wesley, that was a short ride.
Oh, just a little exercise for the horse. He's used to going all day long, and I don't want him to get lazy.
Hey, Doty, look after him, will you?
Hey, Mr. Temple, watch this. That's 24 times today, and I ain't missed once. Did you catch any outlaws today, Mr. Marshal?
Sure, I got Jesse James tied up outside right now.
Jesse James has been dead for years.
You must be pretty busy working this late at night.
Well, you gotta make some money. Don't figure on being a nursemaid to a horse all my life. Might even go to law school someday.
Well, that's a good ambition.
Still feeling poorly?
Yeah, I guess that doc ain't quite as good as people think.
I don't know about that.
You know, it's a funny thing about a doctor. For some people, they're just fine. But for somebody else, well, you might as well go get yourself treated by the pitchman on a medicine wagon.
Well, maybe you just gotta give the doc a little more time to help you.
Oh, I will. All the time it takes. Good night.
See you.
Sometimes people treat me just like they don't think I have very much sense. Well, maybe I haven't. But that's all right with me, 'cause it lets you find out real quick just what kind of folks they are.
What are you getting at, Doty?
Well, that United States Marshal, he ain't honest. You can't be honest and be two different people the way he was.
You don't miss much, do you?
No, sir. If I wanted to find out anything about Doc Newton, I'd come right out and ask you. I wouldn't beat around the bush the way he did.
Yeah, I had that feeling, too. He mentioned the medicine wagon. That wasn't just by accident.
Mr. Temple! Mr. Temple! Fire!
I hope our friends will forgive us. I really loved our home.
House, dear. We're losing our house so we can keep our home.
That was some far, wasn't it, Mr. Rockford?
Sure was, Doty. Get Doc and his wife set up at Beth's?
Yeah. Lane, that Marshal Wesley, when did he bring his horse back in?
What do you ask?
Well, there's something about that guy I just don't trust. He might have had something to do with starting that fire. He was out there snooping around earlier this evening.
It's funny you pegging him, too.
What do you mean?
Well, just shortly after he brought his horse back, the fire started.
I told you he wasn't honest.
I was going to tell you about it anyway. But before he left, he mentioned Doc's name. Mentioned the medicine wagon.
Did he ask you about it?
No, he didn't ask me about it, but he sure left the gate wide open. Like he wanted me to say something. But I didn't fall for it, because, well, you know how we've wondered about Doc coming here the way he did.
Yeah. Maybe Wesley had something to do with Doc's past.
And maybe he isn't a deputy at all.
Could be.
I'll keep my eyes open. If I see anything, I'll send Doty after you.
All right, fine. I'll be around the first thing in the morning. Morning, Art.
Morning, Matt.
I've been looking for that Marshal Wesley. Seen him around?
Yeah, I was just talking to him. Figured he's in town on business, so I introduced myself and told him I'd be glad to work with him. Said if he wanted my help, he'd look me up. Walked over there to the doctor's office.
I don't quite understand, Mr. Wesley. What do you mean, was that fire an accident?
Some fires are accidental, and some of them are on purpose. For instance, I find in my work that fires are used to destroy evidence sometimes.
Now, what's that got to do with my place?
There was a shed built on the side of your house, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that could hold a lot of evidence. Might even be big enough to hold a wagon. Say, a medicine wagon?
I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Wesley, but I don't like your attitude. Now, if you haven't got official business here, I'll have to ask you to leave. Come in.
Mr. Wesley, I'd like to talk to you.
Later.
Hello, Emily.
Sorry about the house, Matt. You know how much it meant to us.
Sure I do, Doc. Is there anything I can do to help you?
I don't know what more you could do. You got us moved into Beth's. We'll be fine there until we can rebuild.
Are you sure there's nothing you want to tell me, Doc?
About what?
About Marshal Wesley, a medicine wagon, maybe even about that fire last night.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you do.
Now, wait, Matt.
Now, look, Doc, if you're in some kind of trouble, surely you can tell me.
What kind of trouble could I be in?
I don't know. But I'd guess it had something to do with the way you were traveling in disguise when you first came into town.
We're just safe that way, that's all. Outlaw bands are less likely to bother a rig like that.
Did you know Wesley was curious about it, too? Lane thinks that he was trying to pump him.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Ridiculous? It's not ridiculous when the house burns down the same night. And with it, the wagon that you kept in that shed.
The next thing you'll be doing is trying to accuse me of setting fire to the house just to burn the wagon.
Did you?
I don't like this, Matt. I don't like being questioned like I'm on trial. Now, I told you there was nothing wrong. Are you calling me a liar?
No, Doc, I won't call you a liar. If you tell me these things have no connection, then... well, that's what I'm going to believe.
That's what I'm telling you, Matt.
All right, Doctor. Sorry if I upset you. See you later. Good day, Emily.
There goes my best friend, Emily. Do I deserve to have such a friend?
Well, it isn't something you can tell anyone. Even Matt. What you did for our protection.
Everything I've done for months has been for our protection. Funny thing is, I haven't protected us at all.
What do you mean?
Look what's happened to us, Emily, to both of us. You and me. The minute Matt walked out that door, I suddenly realized just how far we've fallen. How we're not anything like what we used to be. I stood right here in this room and lied to a man who's not only the best friend we have in the world, but a man who gave us the land for other friends to build a house on. A house we burned just as easily as I lied to Matt. And it was easy because it was for our protection. And that made it all right.
I remember when it started being all right. With the first lie. When we changed our name from Powers to Newton.
Who are we, Emily? Powers, Newton, Professor Wizard, the great O'Brien? What are we? How far are we going to sink? A year from now, what'll be as easy as lying was today? Murder, or even worse?
Where are you going?
I'm going to find Matt, maybe myself. I was the garrison surgeon at Tucson. The garrison was commanded by a sadistic colonel named aptly enough, crass. He used to send his men out on useless raiding parties against the Apaches, hopelessly outnumbered. I had all I could do to keep enough men bandaged up to man the guard posts. It made me so sick to the point that I finally appealed to the colonel on grounds of humanity. I guess I spoke my mind because he hit me in front of witnesses. And sometime later, he got a poison arrow in his left arm. The gangrene would have killed him, so I amputated him. Of course, he accused me of taking his arm off out of vengeance. And he swore that before Washington had retired him, that he'd destroy my career like I destroyed his. Well, he had enough witnesses that would certainly have testified to my hostility. He ordered a court-martial. And as there was no other doctor around to corroborate my diagnosis, I knew I'd be convicted in about 10 minutes. It would have meant a long jail term and the loss of my right to practice medicine. So I deserted. That medical certificate I showed you is a forgery.
The other thing that's hard to believe is why the United States Marshal's office would trail a man all the way from Tucson across New Mexico, Texas, into the Oklahoma Territory. They just don't have that many deputies to waste. Especially on a man who at least isn't a dangerous killer. Here in the Territory, they don't even bother the big ones. They've got plenty of them.
Well, it doesn't matter now anyway, because I've decided to stop running. So has Emily. We know what it would always be like, and we've seen what it's already done to us. So I'm going to go back and take my chances in court. At least by now, Colonel Crass is probably out of the Army, so maybe I can get a fair trial. The only thing, Matt, is I don't like the idea of turning myself into a man like Wesley.
I don't blame you. It'll be a pretty rough trip. I think he likes his job. Let me handle it, Doc. I'll go talk to Art Sampson. Maybe we can figure a way around Wesley. At least we can try.
Thanks, Matt.
Art, I'd like to have you send an official telegram for me.
Sure, Matt.
Colonel, it's me, Wesley.
Oh, it's about time. You know how long you kept me waiting?
I wasn't going to ride all the way out here and then back again without being sure.
Well, are you sure?
Sure as I can be without a picture of him.
Well, you better be this time, or I'll see that the United States Marshal discharges one incompetent deputy.
Sure. Anything you say, Colonel.
Yeah, this is that telegram, Matt. Just came in. Matt, Doc, look.
There's the answer to your question, Matt. I may not be a dangerous criminal in the Marshal's files, but that one-armed gent, I'm twice as important.
Colonel Crass?
My friend and benefactor took a personal interest in seeing that I was trailed.
I'd like to handle this, Art.
Sure, Matt. I'll be right here.
Don't do anything foolish on my account, Matt.
That'll be about as far as you go.
You see anybody you recognize?
Yes.
I know what you're after, Wesley. Too bad you and the Colonel had to go through all that trouble for nothing.
I identified your man, Wesley. Arrest him.
Wesley, nobody in this town ever saw your credentials. And I think it's about time we did.
Well, this badge ain't made out of tin.
How do I know?
Look, Rockford, you may be a big man in Cimarron City, but you try getting bigger than the federal government and you're in real trouble.
Unless you could show us something to back up that badge. Art Sampson is the only recognized law we have here.
Talking about tin badges. Colonel, he tried to cut himself in on the reward money by wanting to work with me on the case.
All right, Wesley. Show them what they want to see and let's get it over with.
Sure.
United States Deputy Marshal, Elton Wesley. That's you?
You can read, can't you?
Yeah, I can read. I'd like to read something to you. It's from the United States Marshal's office in Washington. Addressed to Art Sampson, Sheriff, Cimarron City. United States Deputy Marshal Elton Wesley, dead. Suspect brother Frank Wesley using Elton's credentials. Frank is a known bounty hunter. It's just like I said, Wesley. The only recognized law around here is Art Sampson.
Make it easy on yourself, Wesley. Placing you under arrest for impersonating a United States Deputy Marshal.
Not me, you're not.
There always was something distasteful about him.
We noticed that, too. The real officer could have found out what he wanted to know about Doc by just asking. Wesley had to sneak around about it.
Matt, I thought I told you not to do anything foolish on my account.
I didn't do it on your account, Doctor. I was itching to do it on my own.
I agreed to pay Wesley $1,000 to bring you in, Doctor. My own personal money. That's what I think of you.
Sorry, Colonel, nobody's going to be taking the doctor in. Unless it's a duly appointed officer of the law.
I agree with you. Therefore, I hereby formally charge him with desertion from the United States Army. And I demand that this sheriff, a duly appointed officer from your own statement, arrest him and hold him for the federal authorities.
What?
And furthermore, if you do this, the reward that I posted is yours. $1,000, Sheriff, for doing your duty.
You can keep your dirty money.
Matt, look out!
Is it bad?
Will you see that everybody's out of the waiting room?
There's nobody there.
Well, please check it.
Why?
Please, Emily, just do it.
Oh, I probably shouldn't even think such a thing about Doc. I wonder if it's wise leaving just him and his wife in there alone with the colonel. Them hating him like they do.
He's a doctor, Art. And right now, the colonel is just another patient.
It'd be awful easy to let that patient die. It might even help him a little.
I don't know what you and I could do about it, even if we were in there watching. I wouldn't know what he was doing, would you?
No, guess not.
I guess we're just going to have to trust him.
That's right. Wake up. Can you hear me, Colonel Crass? Just lie still and listen to me. I'm going to tell you something, and you better hear it. We're alone, Colonel. There's nobody in this room but you and me. Doctor and patient. You've got a bullet lying right next to your heart. Now, if it's removed carefully, you can live. But I'm the only man here who can do that. I can save your life, Colonel. If I want to. Can you tell me one good reason why I should? One good reason why I shouldn't let this instrument slip right by the bullet and into your heart? And you, of all people, should know I'm capable of it. Because you're the one who charged me with malpractice. And you must have believed it, or you wouldn't have accused me of it. There's nobody here to accuse me now, Colonel. If I tell those people outside that you were simply beyond help, they'll have to believe me.
Oh, no. Please.
Go ahead. Plead for your life. You, of all people, should know there's no other man on earth who deserves to die more than you. And there's no man on earth who has a better reason for wanting you dead than me. Maybe I should have let that gangrene kill you, Colonel. It would have, you know. I amputated that arm to save your life, Colonel. For the same reason I'm not going to let you die now. It's a very simple reason, Colonel. Because I'm a doctor.
Oh,
can go on living, Colonel. But as long as you live, just remember that the man who saved your life twice did it knowing the world would be a better place without you. Remember it on the witness stand, too, Colonel. Because I'm going back and face your charge. Go inside and take care of the patient, will you? Nurse?
Yes, right away. Doctor.
How'd it work?
Like a charm.
You convince him you're a doctor, not a butcher?
He learned a lesson he's not likely to forget even on the witness stand. I'm getting to be a pretty accomplished liar, you know. Any amateur could have yanked that bullet out. He was never in any danger from it.
Really scared him, huh?
Your patient sends you a message.
Oh?
He says, tell the doctor thanks for everything. Oh, Josh.
Hey, who's Josh?
Oh, why, he's a man that we just buried in the same grave with two shady medicine men.
If the only people who were allowed to come into the Oklahoma Territory were those with spotless pasts, I guess there wouldn't be nearly as many here now as there are. Mostly we have to accept them at face value and not worry too much about where they're from or why they came. As far as Doc Newton was concerned, his past kind of caught up with him. We didn't know whether Doc and Emily would ever come back or not. But we did know one thing. Cimarron City grew a little more. It was a better place to live because they'd been here.
Drought or no drought, that stream never ran that dry before.
Maybe it busted through the bank somewhere. Got a new channel.
There's no place the bank's that low. There's only one way to account for this. Somebody's diverting it.
Let's quit pussyfooting and name names. Barney Wilson's the only man tough enough or mean enough to pull a stunt like that.
That's a pretty broad statement.
You don't know him. He thinks laws are made just for him to break.
I'm not interested in who's responsible. All I know is my cattle needs that water.
They'll get it.
How?
I'll send a couple men upstream to find out what happened.
That stream wanders all over the country. Be a lot simpler if you go right to the Wilson Ranch.
Look, Evans, if that's where the trouble is, they'll get there. Now, I'm not going to accuse anyone until I know what I'm talking about.
You can pussyfoot all you want. I'm going to see Wilson. He may run that ranch of his like a private kingdom, but he ain't going to run the rest of the country that way as long as I'm in it. I'll have that stream open before your men get halfway there.
Maybe that'll help you remember. Wilson left me in charge. I don't care how long you've been around here. From now on, you take orders from me. Or get out.
soon as Doty gets some grub together, we'll go upstream and see what we can find, Matt.
Good luck, White. Water shortage meant big trouble in Cimarron. The people had already put themselves on short rations, and they were getting edgy. Lane and Doty had to find out if the trouble came from a natural source or a man-made one.
Doty, where'd you learn how to cook so good? Well, you can make coffee taste like champagne. Almost.
Well, I like to eat. I got nobody to cook for me. So I figured as long as I got to do it, I might as well do it where it tastes good.
I got a tip for you. When you get married, don't let on to your wife you can cook so good.
Why, you mean she wouldn't like that?
She'd like it fine. That's just the trouble. You'd never get out of the kitchen.
Doty.
What are you doing here, fella?
Who's he belong to?
Bob Evans' brand.
Hey, look at this. Blood. It hasn't been there very long, either.
Get the horses, Doty. See if we can backtrack them.
All right.
There they go again, Doty.
Don't you men know what that fence is for?
We were backtracking this horse.